Hello, everybody. You can call me Hunch, and today I'm going to be talking about Stacks, the Lightning Network, Bitcoin, how I think Bitcoin is layering better than ETH, just based on basic fundamental structure of the network, upcoming things for Stacks, why I think they're going to pop off in the next bull market, and just everything about that. So let's dive on in. So today, the Lightning Network getting adoption, Bitcoin getting adoption. This is an EV charging company. They're going to integrate the Lightning Network all over Europe, right? So now all your environmentalist guys that you know, or gals that you know, can't be saying, oh, Bitcoin's bad for the environment, even though we all know that was kind of like the media outlets attacking Bitcoin, right? Which could have been funded by Sam Bankman-Fried at this point. So we just don't know. But anyway, this is kind of a map. You know, I haven't looked at all the details, but if they integrate the Lightning Network, it's perfect, right? I mean, they're feeding you electricity and you're feeding them real money based on electrical power work, right? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the Stacks chart real quick. So basically I made a video that said, okay, Bitcoin could come back up here, and then if it bounces around on this line, then it could go to the upside, okay? Now, if it falls back in the channel, we could be going back down to another channel down here. Okay, I'm not sure why it's squiggly, and then it could continue on with this thing. Okay, it's looking better for Stacks. It's got a little more strength, right? It's bouncing on top of the channel. Now, my channels are probably not drawn perfectly. I'm not a trader. Do what you want, not financial advice. But the strength of Stacks is impressive. I think it's up like 30-something% this month. Obviously, outperforming most other altcoins and stuff like that. Anyway, I just wanted to mention real quick, SBF got arrested by the Bahamian police, and I think he's going to be extradited back to the U.S. on charges. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, back to Stacks. So if we looked at this, it's kind of bouncing around the top of the channel. That could be because people know something that we don't know, right? So Trevor is works with Stacks, and Munib is one of the creators of Stacks. So he said, good morning. Excited about this week. And then Trevor did put in a little eye emoji. Now, Trevor said in a previous tweet that I don't have up here, but you can go look on his Twitter if you want, that it's going to be a big week. There, you know, people have been in the Stacks community have been tweeting about how something is coming. I don't know what it is. It's total speculation at this point. So they haven't verified anything yet, but maybe it is the reason that Stacks is having such good strength. Okay. I also wanted to mention this DeFi on Stacks. If you haven't checked out Archidiko, check that out, but also check out Zest, because that's trying to bring financial services to the Bitcoin market, take it full circle. We'll see what happens with that. I have not looked enough into Zest, but I just want to drop you that information, baby. Let's go. Now, this is something interesting that all of you DGens will like. This is something coming to Stacks, and it's basically what I think is a device that you can trade NFTs, get into shows, concerts, and just like basically make it like a social thing. So you have this little, device. You can put a background on it like an Apple iPhone watch, and it's basically like a social ID. I think you have a Megapon ape, you could show it, get in places, etc., etc. So basically, it's NFTs. And it does utilize, I believe, ETH and Stacks. So, and obviously, this right here is a Stacks NFT, and that is an ETH NFT behind it. So you can't see it. Let me see. I'm in the way here. Okay, let's move on over. So that's a Stacks NFT over here. This is an ETH NFT. So you can check them out. I do believe that they're going to use Stacks and ETH on it, and maybe integrate more chains. Who knows? But I think this is really some of the things, along with the Ledger hardware wallet that looks like an iPhone, that are going to bring it to the masses, right? Bring crypto to the masses. I hope that's just Bitcoin and Stacks. I doubt it's going to be only that. One of the reasons I also invest in Solana and ETH, unfortunately, because I'm a Bitcoin maxi and I hate doing it. But you could see that this bear market is for building. And I'm a bit of just going to stay a Bitcoin and Stacks a Bitcoin maxi and a Stacks investor throughout this bear market. I'm going to try to collect some of those other altcoins, Solana and ETH, maybe Matic, but it's going to be hard for me because I usually, if Bitcoin goes down, I will do everything in my power to make Bitcoin work. So I'll put that money that I invest in those into Bitcoin. Now, people are like, why don't you do more? Listen, I work, I have a wife, I'm trying to build things. I have a small business. So supporting the network through these videos and buying into it and believing in the philosophy is how I support the network. And I spend, a good 30-45 minutes at work explaining Bitcoin to someone who comes from a country where they suffer from corruption and dictatorships, how the money just dissipates, like in Zimbabwe. She was actually from this Zimbabwe area. So it was just really interesting, and she was very intrigued by it. So I was glad I could offer her that knowledge that, like, people like me and other Bitcoiners are trying to make the world a better place, right? Bring down those borders. I was just talking to her today about how I have a lot of faith that Africa is going to be the up and coming country. And I say that not just because Jack Dorsey's working with Bitcoin over there, but because I truly believe that some of those, I shouldn't say truly believe, I think that some of those countries, their lack of success has been some of their own doing. Just like if we weren't a democracy, our lack of success would probably be our own doing. But also because of how money works, how the IMF works, which is the International Monetary Fund, how it basically, I don't want to say holds you down under the guise of financial aid, but really it's just financial tyranny, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I said at the beginning of this video, I was going to talk about why Bitcoin is going to layer better than ETH. And here's the reason. So if you think about that triangle where it's security, decentralization, speed, right? The triangle that is about computer, technology and science, with any type of technology, I believe, but specifically blockchains in this scenario. Bitcoin basically gives up speed for decentralization and security, right? So ETH comes along, they add smart contracts. Now that complexity, it doesn't give up everything, but it does take away from the security. And you could see that from web hacks and wormholes. You could see that when it kind of split from ETH Classic because they wanted to change when something got hacked, somebody wanted their money back, et cetera, et cetera. So, and now what you're seeing is things like Arbitrum or Arbitrum, I can't even say it, and Matic are sprouting up, which are scaling solutions, utilizing ETH's security, which I truly think is not true. I think they're their own chains. I think they want to loosely be associated with Ethereum so they can get that marketing and grow the network. But I really think they're standalone blockchains at this point. Now, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really care. But the point is, even if they are, layer twos, like what I think Stacks is, they do it differently. They use their own tokens. Well, at least Matic does. I don't know about Arbitrum. You can look into that more. And Stacks uses Bitcoin to pay out its dividend. So, and I have confirmed many times that the Stacks blockchain does take up block space when a transaction is performed on the Bitcoin network, right? Which increases demand. Miners have a revenue source. It grows the economy overall. So, again, that smart contract layer is what helped ETH grow fast, and I think it's going to be its downfall. Now, Bitcoiners have always known that smart contracts were a thing. That's why the company that makes this hardware wallet, Jade Blockstream, developed a layer 2 called Liquid. Now, I don't think many people use Liquid, but people are using Liquid. There's something called discrete log contracts, and there is the Stacks ecosystem. So I think Stacks is a great way to get into Bitcoin, right? It's fun to learn if you like NFTs. But I think Bitcoin is doing it the proper way, right? Like Bitcoin is the new Federal Reserve, right? The Federal Reserve doesn't distribute directly to the consumer, right? They basically settle transactions from all the banks. All the banks do the transactions for the little people, and the Federal Reserve interacts with those banks to distribute money, et cetera, et cetera. So, for example, the Fed distributes money. They provide that service to our society. Bitcoin is the same thing with miners. The miners distribute the money to society. Now, we don't have to use Bitcoin. We can use dollars on that network. We can actually use Satoshis. And Bitcoin will act like the settlement layer, like the Federal Reserve, like the Lightning Network is, like the banks. For example, the banks, which is in what I'm trying to say is the Lightning Network, right? The Fed is not settling, the banks are, and that's the Lightning Network. The Lightning Network takes it over to the Fed, which is the Bitcoin network, right? Kind of like what the banks do, like JP Morgan takes their funds, shows their funds to the Fed to settle. It's all a very vague system, but they would like it like that. And to be honest with you, I don't think they can fully explain it themselves. I mean, I watched I think it was like some type of commissioner or somebody for the European Central Bank, and the dude was completely lost trying to explain how the monetary network works. I think they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants, and that's okay. Anyway, Bitcoin, Stacks, Lightning. I have ETH. I don't think it's going to work. I know everyone thinks I'm Bitcoin maxi. I just truly think it's not going to work. It may. And that's why I have it. And hopefully it does hedge if Bitcoin doesn't work. But I think in all seriousness, Bitcoin is a better way forward for humanity. Anyway, you could call me Hunch. I hope you like this video. Go research some of these things like Zest and that Lightning charging network for EVs and Stacks and how the protocols work. And you'll be better for it because you can explain to people who do not understand and promote this network that I think is going to change the world. Anyway, you can call me Hunch.